Alright, welcome everybody out there in YouTube land. So, welcome back to another ranking video, this time for Christine McVie, her solo ventures. And basically been listening to a lot of Christine McVie, as well as a lot of more contemporary things right now. But basically when she announced her solo anthology Songbird, which is dropping very soon, I thought it's a good opportunity to go revisit a lot of these solo ventures, because especially two of them I hadn't really listened to in a long time. One of them I probably haven't listened to all the way through in like a decade. Actually, a couple of them. So anyway, we have done Christine McVie within Fleetwood Mac, and we have talked a lot about certain releases with her in Fleetwood Mac, and obviously she's the Earth Mother of Fleetwood Mac. She's been in the group for, I mean, if they're still going, she's been in for, 50 something years. Obviously she hasn't been in every lineup in there, but she's been in, a lot more than anyone else, to be honest, if you look at the records. And she's done some amazing work with them, but when she goes off and does it on her own, you can kind of get a more consistent statement of where she is at the time. So we're going to do 4 albums. We're not going to do the complete Blue Horizon sessions because it's mostly just tracks from her debut and, Chicken Shack stuff. And it's an interesting release, definitely, but more of an archival compilation. And I thought I could probably hit this one out before the solo anthology comes out, because that's a compilation as well. There's only a couple new tracks on it. So we're going to be doing just 4 here. It's going to be a nice quaint one. Number 4 is going to be Christine McVie, In the Meantime. And this is really her last true solo statement. And this came out in '04, so just after Say You Will. So finally fans had more, stuff to listen to from Fleetwood Mac alum, because Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks led Fleetwood Mac put out Say You Will, and Christine appeared on at least one track. Anyway, this one is very adult contemporary. It's very sweet and quaint and not very memorable, though. A lot of people point to Friend as being the highlight, which is the first track, and I would definitely agree with that, but for me personally, the songwriting's good, but it becomes kind of sleepy after a while. It's not one I really go back to or anything. One thing, though, is she's still working with a lot of the people she, would normally work with. Like, you got George Hawkins on here, who I would mention in a lot of McFleetwood videos, and Steve Ferrone, David Isaac, Dan Perfect's on here. And I'm pretty sure she's still working with Todd Sharp. She's still working with Billy Burnett. So really, because of the liner notes and who worked on the project, it's kind of worth talking about in that sense. But I don't really listen to it as much as these other ones, for sure. It's just kind of average, in my opinion. It's too adult contemporary, I think I would say. I've probably talked about this one on the channel before. The lazily titled Lindsey Buckingham, Christine McVie. This was great when this came out in 2017, and it's the closest we'll probably get to a post Say You Will Fleetwood Mac studio record, which is sad, but you got Mick Fleetwood and John McVie doing all the backing on here of the percussion and the bass drums. So you got the legendary rhythm section. They don't really play as hard as they used to, because a lot of this material is a little lighter. It doesn't really have the dark mystique that any of the Fleetwood Mac albums have, but it's a really nice pop album, and it really grew on me. But I'm putting this a little lower. I would put it one step higher. I actually wasn't even going to put this in the ranking, but I put it in the Lindsey Buckingham one, I realized. And the Lindsey tracks are better than the Christine ones, I would say, though she has some good ones on here. Red Sun's pretty cool, Too Far Gone, Game of Pretend. Carnival Begins really cool too, actually. I just don't know, the guitar solo is a little bit forced for the material, I think. but it's probably one of the highlights, to be honest with you. And yeah, Red Sun, like I said, is really good. I could not stand the cover art, I'm gonna say that. I think it's so corny, and Lindsey looks so uncomfortable. But yeah, it was really nice to even have this. It was nice it came out. They toured it. I would have loved to see that tour. You know, Christine McVie, the tour kind of proves that she's, you know, she's pretty much done. Her voice has aged a lot, and I don't really see much touring from her anymore. You know, Fleetwood Mac missed their opportunity to do a 50th anniversary tour where they could have, you know, buried the hatchet and come back or whatever. Okay, number 2 is going to be the very 80s Christine McVie, self-titled. And yeah, here you got George Hawkins, Todd Sharp, who I have one of his solo records. It's pretty good, actually. Steve Ferrone, and then of course Christine. So she assembled a little band for this one, so everything sounds very, you know, unanimous and consistent. And Love Will Show Us How is definitely a highlight, which I believe was a single. I know Got a Hold on Me was. Ask Anybody is probably, it's definitely my favorite on here. It might be one of my favorite Christine solo tracks in general. And The Smile I Live For is beautiful. I feel like that should have been on a Fleetwood Mac record. Like, they should have put that on Mirage, even if it even if it went on the track list instead of like Mirage or something, or rather Wish You Were Here. Mirage isn't a song. I mean, Wish You Were Here was a great song, but if The Smile I Live For was on there, it might be an even better record. And of course Lindsey shows up, Mick Fleetwood shows up, one of her writing partners, Eddie, Steve Winwood's on this, Eric Clapton. I mean, yeah, she went all out, and you know, it's definitely Christine through and through. The songwriting, you know, it never really gets rockin', but the band is good. They do a great job. The backing vocals are very good and tasteful. The writing's really good. I own this on CD, LP, and tape, so I must really like it, because I don't think I would buy In the Meantime on all those different mediums. So I obviously definitely like it, but it's number 2. To kind of repeat myself, the track highlights, if you want to just Spotify some tracks and see if you like it. Smile I Live For, definitely. Ask Anybody, The Challenge, and Love Will Show Us How. Those are probably my top 4 picks from that particular record. And if this didn't exist, that would be number 1. So this is the legendary Christine Perfect album, but then it says Christine McVie there. So she took on the McVie name when she got together and married John McVie, and then she, you know, she retained the name ever since. That's kind of been her professional name, but she was Christine Perfect back in the Chicken Shack days, and she got a lot of acclaim for her singing and her playing in Chicken Shack, and you know, that's probably how she met John and everything. And then this was still before she was an actual member of Fleetwood Mac. She was on the Mr. Wonderful record. She did some playing on there, and on Kiln House she did the album art, and you can hear her voice all over the record. And then finally, when Future Games came out in '71, she was a member of Fleetwood Mac. But this came out a year prior. This has a lot of the best Christine McVie solo songs on it. And she even covers Danny Kerwin's When You Say, though I wouldn't say that's a highlight at all, and I think it was a single, and it's kind of a sleepy song to put out as a single. That or I Want You, I think, would be the lowlights on here, but even they're good, but everything else is like great, and you know, so you got Crazy About You Baby, that's great, very Chicken Shack, you know, blues. This is all very bluesy compared to the one I just talked about, because it predates it by 14 years, and you know, that's what Fleetwood Mac were still coming out of, was doing the blues rock thing, and you know, Christine left Chicken Shack to do this one, and you know, it's very bluesy. It's got probably, other than The Smile I Live For, the two songs I like most from Christine McVie, Close to Me and her cover of Etta James, I'd Rather Go Blind. And to cover Etta James and do that good of a job is really great. Other highlights are I'm On My Way, that's a great one, Let Me Go, Leave Me Alone, and Wait and See. Those ones all really stood out to me. The A-side's definitely a little better than the B-side, but it's a really just nice, consistent listen. As I said, she covers a Danny Kerwin-led Fleetwood Mac song. You have the aforementioned Danny Kerwin on here. You have John McVie on here. And Christine plays all the keyboard instruments. And it's really blurry. I don't know if it's this blurry on the reissue, but you can see her in the band on the back. And even I'm going to say even the cover art is a little blurry. I don't know if it picks that up. But, you know, I always have to stop myself from buying the reissue because it's like 45 Canadian dollars or something. It's on white vinyl. Like, it would be great to have, but this actually means a lot to me because, A, it's my favorite Christine McVie solo album. Obviously, we're at #1. But also, I was really into Fleetwood Mac in my teenage years. I started to get into them a little late, like maybe the last year of high school. And I didn't ask for it, but my mom found this, I don't know if it was at a garage sale or a thrift store. I can't really see her at a record store, but maybe. And yeah, this was just a surprise Christmas gift. And it's used, but it played really well, and, you know, I was kind of I was collecting all the Fleetwood Mac albums, but, you know, I was just starting to collect some of the solo works. I definitely had some Lindsey stuff, and maybe I had some Mick solo albums, and maybe a few Peter. Not very many, though, but I was kind of like on my way. I miss when they put these stories on the back that you could read. Obviously, this is way pre-internet, so people wanted a little background, but I still want that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, so good memories, you know, how I got it, listening to it back then, revisiting it for the video. I hadn't played this one front to back in a long time, maybe a decade. I'd, you know, cherry-picked a lot of these tracks, and, you know, I definitely listened to this quite a bit back in the day. But yeah, this one in the meantime, I hadn't listened to the front to back in a decade or so. So anyway, let me know your favorite Christine McVie solo ventures, songs. Yeah, I mean, Christine perfect, right? Can't get more perfect than that. Thanks so much for watching. We got lots more videos in the queue. And yeah, peace and love, everybody. It's pretty crazy right now. Take care of yourselves. And yeah, like I said, see you in the next one.